What up? What up?
What's
Nick,
going on?
Nick here.
Birdman.
Josh fucking Meritt.
Hey guys.
What's going
What
on,
up,
man?
dude?
Pleasure to be here.
Thanks for
being
coming.
with us, dude.
No, thanks for having me.
We appreciate it so much, dude. This is Shaded Sunsets. This is where we talk about when shit gets dark. Fuck.
Fuck is right.
Yeah.
Let's get down the rabbit hole, shall we?
This is gonna
Dude.
be a heavy one. If you guys have any problems with extreme amounts of violence or whatever, this is not something that I would recommend that you guys listen to.
Not for the faint of
Yeah.
heart. Turn it off now.
Nah, you need it. You get a dose of violence in your life. It's important.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's good balance.
Josh, we met. We actually play on the same paintball team, and he's been through some shit, man. Some shit, dude. Like some of the stories that you tell, man. I mean, and some of the things that I've seen you do on YouTube. We're gonna put a link to his prior interview in the description of this video. It broke the 1 million club for a reason, right? And it's just because purely of how fucking raw it is, you know, and how raw you are. And that's truly what we strive for here, is to be you've been through these horrific situations or these intense situations that probably really shape the way that like you look at life and humanity, and we try and relive it, you know?
I'll do my best, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that original interview was with who again?
With Cut.
Cut.
Yeah.
Right.
Who are they?
Man.
So, Cut is run by my buddy Blaine Ludy. We grew up together, I think, from like middle school, maybe even elementary school. I can't remember that far back. But they hit me up one day, just out of the blue, and we're just like, "Hey, we have a project for Memorial Day. We want to talk to veterans about killing people. Can we fly out and talk to you?" And I was like, "Yep, let's do it. Why not?" And they just sat me down in front of the. I mean, you guys saw it. Just sat me down in front of the camera, and my buddy Brian was doing the audio, and we just laid it out.
That's wild. For Memorial Day, huh?
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
And they did it with the intent of talking specifically about
Killing.
That's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah, it was me and a Vietnam vet, a guy from Kosovo. There was an Iraqi army guy there. It was super interesting hearing his stories because you don't often hear the other army's version.
Yeah, no
You know?
kidding.
Yeah, it was fun.
Are you guys super cool with those guys while you guys are over there?
Over there, yeah, because I mean, kind of. So I was in Afghanistan, and Afghanistan was, I mean, it's weird. It's one of those weird parts of the world where it used to be like the cultural hub of the world. Like in the '60s, you would fly to Bagram or those places like for vacation, you know, or go to college there. Nowadays, if you step foot in that country, you're good chance of getting, you know, bagged up by someone.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
You know, Taliban or just local warlords. I mean, the population there is just so impoverished. They're not bad people by any means. It's just, you know, that's just one of the places in the world you just don't go to.
Just war torn.
Just war torn, and it's been that way since forever. Because that particular stretch of land is just a perfect little kind of like avenue towards, you know, Russia north, China east, you know, everywhere else, and then the Middle East. So just owning that little spot of land is just very advantageous, and no one's been able to because you just can't outfox the local population. You know, imagine we'd have one guy up in the hills put down ineffective fire on us. So they're just shooting one round over our head every 30 minutes, and our entire everything, convoys or platoons, we just stopped, and we'd have $1 million aircraft with thermal imaging and all this other weird shit flying through. Can't find them.
Jesus, man.
Yeah, and I guarantee it's this farmer walking right past us with a donkey, just walking through our convoy, you know, hours later. Hey, assholes.
Just with an AK under his robe.
Or maybe he just ditched it in a rock somewhere. They don't care. They're all over the place. AKs over there. I saw two things over there more than I saw anything else my entire life: weed and AKs.
Weed.
Wow.
Yeah, weed grows like the word weed. Like imagine like dandelions and shit. I saw it in ditches on the side of the road. Everywhere had weed.
Really?
That's why I was so poppin' in the 60s, huh?
Probably.
I feel like I heard that. Like the Afghanistan has a huge amount of heroin production and
one of
weed
the
production.
If they're not the biggest, they're the second biggest producer of poppy on the planet.
Wow.
Okay.
And when we went in, we tried to do the whole, let's change, like, they can all grow pomegranates. And they were like, there's no fucking money coming from pomegranates, you jackasses. No, we're going to go back to, harvesting poppy.
Trying to legitimize it.
Yeah. And like whenever we'd go through, so if you ask any OEF vet, anyone that ever went through Afghanistan that was on the ground, they'll tell you that whenever we'd have a mission that went anywhere near a poppy field or a weed field, we would go wide around it. And the Taliban knew that shit.
Why is that?
Just, we weren't allowed to touch it. That's their money. And I'm assuming they're I don't want to put a tinfoil hat on, even though we're all thinking the same thing, but we were there protecting these guys' poppy.
I was about to say, yeah.
Because I guarantee we were turning a lot of that into, painkillers and
that's a cash crop.
Cash crop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we were essentially protecting their stuff, and the Taliban knew that, and they'd put their weapon caches and their IED components in the like the weed fields and the poppy fields, and then they put mines around them, so just no one would fuck with it. Yeah.
Damn.
But
they've been doing this shit for 50 years now.
Oh yeah, I'm just running guerrilla ops. Like, there's no way like a bunch of 18-year-olds in a fresh uniform going out there are going to be like, yeah, let's change this for democracy. Like, no, it was not going to happen.
Oh shit.
But to answer your original question, yeah, we actually got along with them really well, because once you're all there, like, you're like, you've been working with the unit for a while, like, you start learning some of these people, and you just realize we're all the exact same.
So there's like a mutual understanding between you and the enemy at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, the enemy,
rad.
the locals.
That's cool.
Well, and you gotta respect these dudes, because they're going after us in sandals and pajamas.
Yeah.
Keeping the military arm of the hard cock of America
straight up
just at bay. I mean, I wouldn't say that it was a mission accomplished for Afghanistan, was there? So I would say they won in the end.
Maybe not a traditional mission accomplished.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
A political,
yeah,
economic.
Yeah. And and deep down, I think we did some good. There on a micro level, there was some good we did. I've done a bunch of reports now that I'm in the learning part of my life. Done a bunch of reports on Afghanistan, and it's just like, man, it's like 87% of the population is illiterate, living living way below the like the universal code of whatever the hell it is, poverty and sickness and all that kind of crap. Average like life expectancy is like 40 or 50.
Good God.
Yeah, I think it was like 1 in 4 kids die. Maybe it was even 1 in 3, something awful.
Damn, so they're just kind of born and raised and bred to protect, to defend, to
hate,
fight against the enemy.
Pretty much. And it's just whoever that for them. And the biggest thing that we heard the most was they don't want Taliban there. They don't want us there. They don't want anybody. They just want to live their lives alone, because their population has just been decimated. Their local way of life doesn't exist. There's hardly any tradition left in the area, save for, who's kind of kept the musical traditions or the clothing or maybe the dancing. But like, they listen to a lot of Bollywood. They wear a lot of American clothing, smoke a lot of American cigarettes.
Man, so you got to know them pretty well. You guys were connecting over there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even with the language barrier and everything, you almost got to know these people.
Craziest story ever. So it might have been like my first like mission or two that I was like in country. And we were out on just some patrol doing our thing, and I was outside of my truck, just 5'5" me, like, hey guys, I'm a big soldier, and this
real life Call of Duty.
Yeah, like I'm gonna do it. And this dude, just like this local, just walked up just out of the crowd and got kind of close to the little barrier that I was standing next to, and he just goes, "Hey, bro." I was like,
just like that.
Just said, "Hey, bro," and I was like, "What?" Like, "Hey, man, how are you?" And he's like, "I'm good, bro. How you doing? How's your day?" I was like, "Good." Question: where'd you learn English? And he's like, "I grew up in Southern California." And I was like, "Nah, shit. Like, everyone leave me alone." And me and this guy just were talking on it for like 30 minutes. The guy you grew up in La Jolla Beach, went to college down there, and it was just like, I miss home. I'm moving back to Afghanistan. Moved into this dust bowl of a shithole town. But that's his life. That was his family, and that was his culture.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn, dude, that's crazy.
It was just absolutely insane. But and there's no way he was over 25.
Fuck.
That's wild. If anybody listening right now is listening to this story and is not grateful for their life, then they're fucking a sociopath.
Yeah.
because
be so grateful. He could have been born anywhere on this planet.
No
you know?
shit, man.
Yeah, but that was just crazy. Love
Born
stuff
in
like
the
that.
war zone, man.
Yeah.
So going on this show, going on Cut, explicitly to talk about, you know, the way even the methods that you were killing, right? Which like is a very rare thing to have as a human being. First of all, and it sounded to me, because I listened to the interview and I was just sitting there like, Jesus, man, like this dude has gone through it, and it sounds like he's made his peace with all this, right? Because here in America, like the societal norm is like, you know, you go through something like that and you're supposed to be traumatized afterwards. You're supposed to feel some sort of way afterwards, to be dehumanized afterwards, right? But you're sitting right in front of me, like a normal guy, right? So how did you find peace with that? You know, how did you get to the process of like finding peace with that?
It was definitely, it was a lot of steps, and it was a lot of like steps that became very like apparent to me as they happened. So the first one was, so the first kill was that the grenade launcher when I was talking about. So it was just, we were in this shit firefight we were in for hours. We were all just exhausted, low on ammo. Sun was going down. It was fucking freezing. We'd been walking for 12 hours prior. I wanted to go home. I wanted to go take a shit, you know? Yeah. I wanted to get some food in my belly. I was like, I'm over this. So when I grenaded this dude, and all of us finally got on these helicopters and went back, my team leader just was going room to room and just checking all the guys. Hey man, how you guys doing? And because he had been in Afghanistan and Iraq, so he had 2 deployments on me, and was just like, hey, how you guys doing? And it was just that little bit that kind of just started setting everything off, and I was like, I'm fine. And then I went into one of the little porta potties we have, which like we don't have like porta potties over there. Yeah. Like you would just put a plastic bag over the bowl, shit in the bag, toss it in the trash, and they burn it. But I went into there and I just cried for like a half hour. And it was just, damn. Yeah, because it was like, fuck, like this was like remember like that one scene in Boondock Saints where he shoots him in the bathroom? He's like, it's on now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, like that was it. That was my coming to terms. Like, it's on now. Like that's how real this gets. Like that wasn't just Call of Duty that I just took a life.
Yeah.
You
had to break the seal.
Yeah, you had to break the seal.
Pop the cherry.
Pop the cherry.
Yeah.
And, you know, and you had to become very aware of that. And this was like 2 weeks in. And I was like, fuck, I have another year of this. Like, I really need to, you know, figure my shit out quick and now.
Word.
So you grenaded a guy, right? And I understand, right? Like, you're at war. That's what you do. How'd that play out? Like, what happened? Well,
so, okay. So we were on... we were walking, so we infilled, so we came in by helicopter real late at night, maybe like 100 in the morning, and we're just walking, just clearing villages up to this main town was kind of the objective. So throughout the whole night, we're just clearing villages and stuff, trying to, you know, not like alert dogs to our presence, which is so hard to do, and just move through this valley to get to this final place. We were going to get there and eventually exfil. I'm not too far from it. So we get about, you know, light, the sun comes up, the day goes by, we're still clearing, still, you know, doing our thing. And one of our OPs, like one of our observation posts catches someone moving around up in the hills. So all of us are on like, here we go, like we're in it. And that didn't really come to fruition until maybe like 2 hours later. So the sun starts, so we start moving. So we're like, fuck it, nothing's happening. We're gonna continue mission going this direction. So as we're going this direction, the sun was coming down right in front of us. So and there was a mountain range right over the top. So it was just perfect. Sun was coming down right in our eyes, and we couldn't see anything in front of us. There was a little little brick compound we went and checked out real quick, and then right when we all got out of the door, we just started taking machine gun, like accurate machine gun fire, mortar fire, rockets were skimming right over our heads. So we just kind of got down behind this berm, and that was my first time getting shot at. You know, so I was like, oh, hey, like, this is how it feels. And it was interesting because it was an immediate sense of clairvoyance. I could see everything around me. Everything became so clear. I can still to this day smell the dust. I can see where everyone was. I could draw out that place in my head 1,000 times over, just because it was the most, like, I paused and was just like, I need it. So you called the mad minute when you get into a firefight, because in the first minute, no one really knows what the fuck's going on. You got to find out where the fire's coming from, who's firing at you, what they're firing with. Are any of your boys hit? How can we adjust the terrain to have this oncoming threat?
Yeah.
You know?
And you got to keep your shit together. You got to keep your animal instincts at bay.
Yeah. And so there were some dudes we had,
Wow.
I'm not going to give out names or ranks, but I'm going to say one dude for sure curled up into a ball and started crying.
Oh,
So he was out of the fight.
Oof.
A couple other guys, you can tell, were just keeping their heads down because it's like, man, like this is how real it gets.
Yeah.
And these bullets were coming in. I mean, these guys they skimmed a rocket. So we were behind this little berm, and you've played paintball. You know how it goes when something just hits right in front of you, and all that dust hits you in the face, and you're like, maybe I'm out. And this RPG just skimmed right over this berm, like right past my head, and kept flying and actually almost hit some of the guys behind me, but it just kind of petered out and fell. But the exhaust from it just burnt the shit out of my eyes, and so I had to just lay back and was just rubbing my eyes, screaming, "I can't see, fuck!" What the fuck? And they started maneuvering on us in the low ground, so all of us are kind of on our backs, shooting like sideways on this little hill. We're like, we're for sure gonna die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you accept it at this point? Were you just sitting there like, I'm going to keep firing and try to keep my shit together, but there's a chance I'm not leaving?
Kinda. I don't want to say like I'm the best, because I never was, or like I'm like part of the best, but there's definitely like a legitimate group of infantrymen that after training has accepted that they're already dead. Like when you go through training, they tell you all the time, if you fuck up, and it's not you're going to die, because you should never be worried if you're going to die. You're going to die, but you don't want to cause your friend to die.
Word.
So in that immediate moment, you're like, how are my buddies doing?
Right.
So you're looking at them like, fuck, how can I help these guys out? Do you need ammo? Do you need a gun? Like, what can I do? So yeah, I think the ones who were scared from the get-go were worried about dying. And that was their immediate like, hey, I could die right now. I think the rest of everybody else was just like, what the fuck is going on? I kind of
mad minute.
Yeah, and I think my first real emotion that I can sense from that moment was anger. Because I was just so exhausted already and just so annoyed. And
No shit.
And a lot of guys told me the same thing. We were just like, yeah, we were just kind of fucking angry.
It sounded like it all came to a head too, because you guys were walking around for 24 plus hours, and this was after 2 weeks of preparation to go out into the field, and finally, something's starting to happen. Some action is fucking firing up, and you're just like, why do I got to be fucking asleep for this, man?
Yeah, exactly. I'm not like I just shit my pants or something, where it's like, fuck, like I'm not ready for this right now.
So
I wasn't ready for this episode, by the way. Anybody listening to this one is witnessing the aftermath of the first time I ever shit my pants conscious. Thank you.
I didn't mean it as a jab.
he walked,
but he did
in
get
here,
to witness the glory of it. So
it was great.
Literally walked in here with a shit stain in his ass crack through his
so
pants.
Proud.
Oh
I thought it was great. We've crapped a bunch.
Yeah. We're humans, dude. Whatever. But essentially, man, you're in. So this firefight, is it like going you guys' way? Is it not?
It was hard. It was hard to tell at first, mostly because I was so fresh from basic training, and I was so fresh from the training my unit gave me, that when I finally got there and we were in the shit, it was like I really don't know. Like you just, imagine like everyone in this room has had a first like big day. We're like, hey, my first big day at college, my first day at a job. So you miss all the nuance. You miss all the little things that 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks, 5 weeks from now, will all be just second nature. You'll know what to look for. Muscle, everything's just muscle memory.
My first day getting shot at.
Yeah. So the first day you just everything just kind of, like you said, just came to a head, and it was just all this conglomeration of us just trudging around, finally getting in the shit.
Word.
Yeah.
And then what happened? You saw one of these people that was opening fire at you, and that's when you made the decision in your head, like, all right, I got to grenade him.
Well, it became so before I even got my first shot off, I had a couple of these rounds, including that rocket, all just going past me, and I realized that no matter what I do, these fuckers are still going to keep shooting at me. So, there was no, and keep in mind, all this happens in a matter of just seconds. Milliseconds. Where you're like,
which probably seems like a fucking lifetime.
Oh yeah, man. It felt like forever. Just the adrenaline dump. Like everything was just, let's go.
God
damn.
Yeah. But it was like I need to kill people to get out of this one. And when I peeked my head over this berm and I could see people maneuvering close enough to it, it was like, you're getting your grenade.
Yeah.
Here comes Hanukkah.
Was that just excitement right there? Or did you just like, oh fuck yeah, it's happening?
Yeah, totally.
This is my moment.
Yeah, because it was like paintball. So I've been playing paintball since I was 12, let's say 11 maybe, and seeing that was just like watching paintball happened, but in real life where I was like, haha, like I kind of have the high ground. I saw you move and I have a chance to make you go away, to get you off the battle space.
Yeah.
Sayonara.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Right
So you got to do what you got to do.
Wait, I feel like I know that's a very, I feel like that's a statement that's thrown around a lot in the forces.
Which
right?
one?
You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Right. But I guess the easiest way to ask it is like, what the fuck do you mean by that? Like, you got to do what you got to do. What do you mean by that?
Is that you? I think every human inherently knows that killing's bad, even if they're going to war. You know, especially if they chose a job like mine, where it's like you're probably gonna go kill someone in an act of war.
It's in the description, man.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. It's like shoots people. And you're like, I don't know about that part. But yeah, no. You gotta do what you gotta do. You just gotta dig deep, and you gotta realize that like you gotta make these moves, and you gotta make them correctly. Because what if I identified that dude and saw him down there and was getting ready, and someone had seen me do that prior? So what if I pop my head up, take too long over that berm, and catch two in the neck?
Yeah.
You know.
Was there any hesitation?
No, none at all.
Right on.
No, I had
You had that training pretty much from paintball.
Yeah.
Well,
I
so
mean,
to speak.
that I don't want to say I went into this with no remorse, but when I joined up, it was like I just wanted to go do that. Like I maxed out the ASVAB coming in, like with the entrance test and all that kind of stuff, and I had a lot of like I went out for the Coast Guard originally because I was in a plane crash, and after that I was like, we'll give back. And when I was joining up with them, it was like, you guys are kind of pussies. Like I want to go get some gun time in. That sounds like
don't
fun.
even carry guns out there.
Yeah, like here's like your ticket book, and you have too much water. And I was like, all right, fuck this.
Got some boat shoes.
Yeah,
right
so
on.
I wanted to go like stomp on the ground in a different country, and make a ruckus.
Right on.
And they let me.
So you were fucking ready, man. So there was no hesitation. Did you have any thoughts while this gunfire was firing, through your headspace of like my family, my future family, my mom and dad back home?
Definitely not. There's no time for
anything like that.
No, all that gets dumped. All that kind of just gets pushed to the back, or you just swallow that, and it's the most immediate thing in your head for sure. And this goes for all infantrymen, is how are my buddies doing?
Nice.
So there is no like, oh man, my family, because you just don't have enough time. That's like a second tier level of thinking, or a third tier level of thinking, in terms of like what I have the mental energy right now to grasp at and like use.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That's incredible. I think that you could probably attribute that thought, that split second training to think about that. You can attribute that to you sitting here right now. Can you not?
Oh, definitely.
Right on.
Yeah, there's
definitely your other guys were thinking the same thing.
Oh yeah, and like I said,
That's
there was a guy, 2 feet off my right hip, just up in a ball crying, rifle on the ground with the safety on.
How do you feel about that?
It is what it is. It's human nature.
Yeah.
But
you're still looking after this dude.
Oh yeah, he went home. He's alive now. I'm sure he has a family and kids and a job. We don't talk.
Right on.
We didn't talk a lot then to begin with, but I've nothing against him or anyone who goes to war and is like, if your job's to kill a guy and you can't do it, that's fine, but don't go home and be like, yeah, I'm a badass.
Yeah,
right.
That's fair.
Like,
Right.
You're a cuck. Sorry.
Yeah.
You kind of got in the way. You almost got us killed.
No shit.
But there's plenty of guys who join up and their main job isn't to be infantry or to drop mortars on people's heads or be a guy in a tank blowing shit up, which is rad. I love tanks.
Hell yeah.
Some guys do that other stuff, and that's fine. Whatever. I'm not going to be like, yeah, they serve the same as we did, but there's a job to do. There's shit to do, and there's some pride to do it, no matter what.
Word.
You do a whole bunch of drugs while you were out there, or what?
So my first deployment, no. Maybe a little little painkillers here and there because the Army just gave them out like Pez.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, no. We just drank a lot. We'd like make our own hooch. My dad would send me a lot of whiskey.
Word.
Yeah, thanks, Dad. That was great. And he'd always send me like Hennessy. I'm like, don't send me nice cognac, Dad. Like, send me like a bottle of like Black Label Jack. Let me just get shit drunk.
Send it in a bag. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
You allowed to drink there?
No, God, no.
Oh,
no.
shit.
No, you can't do anything, especially in a Muslim country. I mean, the biggest one was no alcohol.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Man, I'd imagine you go over there and not follow the rules. You're like, fuck that.
Yeah,
We're Americans, man. We're gonna put whiskey all over this fucking.
Well,
land.
but that was the big issue with early on in the war is they were just so they called it a coin fight, counterinsurgency, but they wanted to do hearts and minds was the big thing, and our joke was we can put one in their heart and their mind, but
shit.
right, we're so fucking funny, yeah, they were trying to do this hearts and minds battle because we clearly weren't winning against the insurgents because they would just turn into the local population the next day. You know, there was no way to stem the tide. You can't arrest every single person who's male.
No shit.
Yeah, because you just have a country full of females, and like this makes no sense.
Sounds like a country for me,
trouble, bro.
Yeah, but yeah, we broke as many rules as we could. We're the army, but there were a lot of things. There were a lot of things that we would do like respectfully, like you would shake hands with your left hand. You wouldn't like show them with like the soles of your feet. I guess in Afghanistan it was a sign of disrespect. So there's a couple things like if they offered you like tea, always take the tea. Very nice, just a nice gesture, especially when a family's like fucking dirt poor.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, here's some of our tea. You're like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So, but otherwise, yeah, when it came to like not having booze.
So you almost feel like, I mean, we are intruding on their culture, on their country, on their space, on their people. And I would imagine, I mean, this is coming from me, man. I've never fucking left the country and lived anywhere else, right? I certainly haven't fought anywhere else. And it seems to me like, these people come from outside of our country and they're trying to fucking impede on our culture and they're bringing their fucking booze in here and their guns and all this bullshit, right? You got to empathize with that, man. I don't know. How do you feel about that? Like the enemy is this meager population that really can't really defend themselves besides knowing their land.
Yeah.
Right?
No, totally.
Like how does that, like as a person, man, like how do you look at that?
I think more than killing someone, like more than that, what affected me was just seeing the people, just seeing who it was that was being crushed under us because fuck you.
Yeah.
So my brother went to University of Hawaii and was doing a lot of acting out there. And he sent me one time a picture of him. He was working on, I forgot what movie it was. I think it was Emma Stone or whatever. But he was a bit player and he was dressed like an Afghan and had the whole bit on that they wear and was sitting next to some other extra that was a female that had it on and looked just like all the kids I had seen on mission. That's what fucked me up the most was that I was seeing my brother's face in all these people that I was going at because we like even though we're Mexican and Polish, we look like we're Arabs. Like my gene pool's my gene pool's all fucked up. I'm just a mutt. But yeah.
Welcome to America.
Yeah, right. Welcome to being different. The same. But yeah, that fucked with me a lot. Was I finally put a familiar face to a population I had never even. I mean, I couldn't go on a map until who Afghanistan was until the war.
Word.
Yeah.
So
that's what really got in my head the most was just humanizing these people, because no matter what they may or may not have been doing, or the people in charge of the country may or may not have been doing, they're still humans. Right. And not all of them are the ones doing all the bad shit. And it was just so. Which
is what I would imagine to be the complete opposite of what you were trained to do.
We were trained to kill everything.
Yeah. Just like target practice.
Yeah. I mean, we weren't running around like just shooting women and kids. There was one time we had to shoot a chick, but that was a different situation. But yeah, like we wouldn't just like run through like a village and just like grease everything and then be like bye.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there was definitely like we were a little loose on our ROE, but again it was do that. It was if you don't, maybe you don't go home.
ROE's rule of engagement, right?
Rules of engagement. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I might drop some acronyms.
No, you're good. I think we're gonna take a little break right now.
A break.
5-10 minute break, and then we're gonna come back.
Get some nicotine.
We're gonna talk. We're gonna get more into that shit, bro.
Yeah, I want to hear about, what went through your head, man, when you had that confirmed kill. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we'll get into some other stuff that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
But
totally.
Yeah, man.
Sick.
It's cut. Damn, bro.
Good evening, my friends. It's Commander Cutie, Mr. Chudsy Wubsy from the Last Week Out podcast, and we've got some exciting news for y'all. Over here at the Last Week Out podcast, we are produced by Slack Media LLC, and they have a special promotion going on right now. If you are a two-legged Homo sapien or a millennial who just had a meaningful conversation and have the urge to put it on the internet, we're just the people for the job. We record, edit, and update and post. Update and post. What the fuck is update? Why did I say update?
You can update stuff.
I guess you can update stuff. Listen, dude, you want to fucking do a podcast? Guess what? We're the ones that can do it for you. We can edit, mix, master, and produce the whole thing, and we can help you figure out, do you know what an RSS feed is? Because I sure didn't when I started this, but because of Slack Media, now I do. So if you have a podcast and you want to get it started and you want to skip all the difficult stuff, go ahead and email slackmediallc@gmail, god damn it, dude. Or you can slide in our DMs at the Last Week Out on Instagram. Get on in there. Love you. Bye.
What up? We're back. Nick and Bird here. Josh fucking Meritt.
Good little break.
You fucking
We should just do a freestyle session for the second
pitbull.
half. Just
I'll just background dance.
Yeah, dude.
yes.
I don't have any rhythm or anything like that.
Yes. We
Yeah.
need a bikini for this, man.
Mhm.
Oh, easy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Got one in the car. We're set.
Yeah. Bikini and beer, dude.
Yeah.
Yes.
Time to drink.
And a shitty pair of pants.
Dude, so on break we kind of talked about it just for a sec, but this is so for anybody listening, what we're about to talk about right now is gonna be it's gonna be pretty heavy. The woman.
The woman. So got a lot of flack for it, obviously, with the first movie or the first interview we did. I shouldn't say backpedal, but had to re-explain it a bunch. So this is what happened. So when you're in a war zone and there's anyone in the area who's not wearing the same uniform as you, you just have to kind of just keep them, you keep them at arm's length and you keep an eye on them. So we're getting shot at from this village. We're taking mortar rounds. I watched two of my buddies. So this explosion just happened right between them, and both their bodies were just obscured by the smoke. I'm like, they're both dead. And when the smoke cleared, they're both sitting there just like, I'm like, oh man, you guys got fucking lucky. They got lucky that the dirt was super soft in front of them. The mortar buried itself halfway into the ground before it exploded. Otherwise, those two guys would have been toast.
Feel like it's a Looney Tunes.
Really, yeah. Just like
standing there all
like
black.
Acme just hitting the top of the thing.
Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, it's really how it is sometimes, and that happened a lot more frequently. But yeah, so eventually we just caught one of these guys, shot him, didn't think anything of it. We're still doing our fight, and we look up and there's this lady we don't call it, she wasn't wearing a mandrel, she was wearing a burqa, but she was dragging this guy back into this kalat, which is like a house. So she's dragging him back, and we're like, okay, whatever. Like, she's just collecting the bodies or trying to help out the wounded. Not a big deal. She's not a combatant. She then stopped when she was like, saw us see her, and she bent down and picked up the gun that the guy still had strapped to him and leveled it at us. And she got about hip level when that gun came up, that we just fucking destroyed her.
Oof.
Yeah, and we weren't aiming at her to begin with. We're like, well, whatever. We have clearly other targets to worry about right now, not this bitch. But she picked her machine gun up and tried to shoot at us.
What's the rules of engagement on that?
That's the rules of engagement. When someone aims a gun at you, you fucking put them down.
No matter what.
No matter what. I mean, the cops have the exact same rule of engagement. And,
Right.
and anyone who's ever in paintball, for example, If you got a guy in the back corner, he's not paying attention to you, his gun's down, you're not gonna be like, well, he's not a target.
Yeah.
No, you're gonna fuck him up.
Yeah.
I don't get any points for him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
But she leveled a gun at us and tried to kill us. And the only thing that was going through my head was just one of my buddies is going to take a bullet next to me. One of these 19-year-olds is going to get capped by some lady in a thing, and we're going to have to be, we're programmed to be all worried about it stateside. Like as soldiers, it was quick and immediate. It was muscle memory. But then you have to go home with that and it really wasn't that hard because she gave us a reason to do it.
100%.
Had we just greased a lady, it'd be completely different. But we killed a combatant.
and you shot her and she just slumped over and that was it.
Up against the wall, and there was no more life in her body.
So that was the first time a non-combatant turned into a live threat.
Yeah.
And you immediately took care of it. How did that differ from the countless other people?
It started to just
went
all
before
run
that?
together. You start doing the same thing so many times, you start looking for the same thing, and you have to grow a thick skin to it.
Yeah.
Because imagine just breaking down every time the first of something happened in a war zone.
Word.
The first time I held a hand grenade. The first time I did this, and you would just always be crying and be
Shit,
fucked
I
up.
wouldn't be surprised, man, with the kids these days, man.
Who knows, man?
I'd be that way. I'd be a little bitch out there.
I think people
guaranteed.
say that. But some of the most hardcore people I worked with out in the field were some of the least likely characters. Like, I mean, I hate to pull up Lord of the Rings, even though I love Lord of the Rings, but you didn't think Sam and Frodo would fucking carry that ring the whole way. Gumption.
Hell yeah.
They were clutch.
Right on.
And
The
I've
real
met
heroes.
many guys who were of short stature or just dorks or came from the weirdest walks of life who ended up being the biggest savages on the battlefield.
No kidding.
Because they were head in. I don't know what it was, what clicked with them inside, where they came from that had them bred so perfectly for this instant. But when the bullets were flying, when everything was needing to get done, they did it.
Just that jaded angst
Yeah.
Yeah.
manifesting.
Definitely.
In that moment when you and is it a squad? I
Yeah,
guess?
or platoon.
Platoon. So in that moment when you were put in that position where you had to pull the trigger on this lady, like was there ever any single thought in your mind where you were like, "Fuck"?
Nope.
It was just
It
me.
had to be
Sorry.
instant.
It was just me or you. That is it.
That was it. So because you don't see the gender behind the barrel of the gun.
Right.
You just see this thing that's about to shoot one of your buddies rising
Right.
up to your face, and you're just like, "Fuck no."
Do you have to like report anything like that?
Yeah, but
to-
I mean, it like not necessarily. So like, there's no like specialized reporting channel for like this was a chick and not a dude.
Yeah.
It was more just like we were in a firefight. So we called them TIC, troop in contact. So hey, we got in a TIC. Enemy KIA was this. Enemy wounded was this. Friendly wounded or killed. And here's our weapons, our ammo count and our water count. We're pushing on. That's it.
How many close friends do you know that didn't make it back?
So from our platoon, we lost Moffett, Thomas Moffett, good kid, Wichita, Kansas, died real young.
The fucking dude.
Yeah, so he was out in the open, just trying to get us.
Cornfield boy, huh?
Yeah, oh yeah, he was just big, tall. So he was like a baby giraffe. Like I've never seen someone so uncoordinated in my whole life. Which is this big, tall, lanky fuck, and would just love to dip and fish. That's all he liked. He was just real simple country boy, but good kid, just nothing but a heart, But got out there and we were just in a shit spot. It was a bunch of dudes came down on top of us and we were just fucking surrounded. It was one of those ones where like, this is it. We're gonna die for sure. And when all of us were trying to get to cover, he was just providing. We were in such a bad. Imagine just being out in the open. Just someone getting caught and you're like halfway through a move from a bunker to bunker. We were just out in the middle of the battle space, and so he just took a knee and just put down as much suppressant fire as he can. There were just so many people there. Someone finally caught a hold of him. And the worst part was he didn't die right away. It was a slow death.
Damn.
Yeah, and that's always the worst one because that's not what hits you, the grunt, the hardest. That's what hits your boys, the medics, the hardest. Because you always have a medic with you. Every infantry platoon will always have a medic with them, and they become family.
Yeah.
And our medic, if he's listening, he did everything he could, but it was it was just one of those bolts where it was you were coming out of that one.
Yeah.
And it was sad.
Well, dude, it's cool, man, because being part of American society and watching the news and hearing the stories about this kind of thing, they tell you about the gruesome details. They don't show you them, but they also say they miss the part between the gruesome details and the honor, where it's like not necessarily for country or for family, but for each other.
That's what it is, man. That's
And
all
that-
of us say.
That, in my opinion, that is the most honorable element of all this. Is like he stood out there on one knee, firing at something that eventually did kill him for his boys,
For you.
right?
Yeah.
And you're not thinking about your family. You're not thinking about your country necessarily. You're thinking about we need to survive, not I need to survive,
Yep.
but my troop needs to survive.
Exactly.
And that is the most honorable element. I see that. That's
And I think that's a trait we're missing. I think a lot nowadays in just culture, and that's not. I don't think it's anyone's fault. I think it's just the natural progression of humans. But we started to lose that sense of urgency to keep each other around. You know,
Absolutely.
to help to drop everything to forget self, and to help others. You know, because
Yeah.
at no gain for yourself.
especially in this country, man.
Yeah, I think you'd see it. I think you see it a lot of places. I think you see it here a lot, and I think the reason why we are so hypercritical because we're the ones living here, and I think we as Americans expect better out of ourselves,
Right.
and we just don't
Absolutely.
In your interview that you did a little while back, you used the word primal.
get it.
Why?
Primal, because when I was in these fights, I had said in that interview, I felt like ancestors were inside me.
Yeah.
What I really meant to kind of say was it just felt like this was something that we've been doing, which I said in the interview, all we do is fucking fight, because that's what we do. We're fucking monkeys.
Yeah.
Look at monkeys in the wild. What do? Fuck and kill each other. That's it. And they mate, like different mates, weird stuff. Like bonobos just jack off all the time. But
And throw shit.
yeah, and throw shit. But yeah, like to think that we're any different because we have tools and stuff and we have books and a written language, like fuck off. We're still animals.
Yeah.
So that's all we do. And so in that moment, in that the reason why grunts come back so fucked up is because we've seen you go to the edge. You're at the edge of humanity, and where sword meets flesh.
Yeah.
And it's not a spot we want to live in nowadays. Which I was telling you during the break. That's how PTSD. That's what I think. How it came around. I don't think if you look at barbarians back in the hundreds or whenever they existed, you're not gonna see those guys going back to their tents and going, "Oh man, I had to kill someone today." They're like, "Yeah, look at this fucking dude's head. I brought it home."
Straight up.
Yeah.
That's how it was.
So you're almost unlocking that part of the mind again.
Yeah,
That working part of the mind that humans were innately born with.
Yeah, you just see through. You have another lens to look through, and to view the world and to make decisions going forward.
Yeah.
And having that lens allowed me to have a better grasp on humanity. You realize what's important and what's not, what's finite and what's not. Yeah.
Wow. There's a couple things come to mind, man. I think of some speakers, some podcasts that I hear that it's not necessarily the man that lives in the darkness, that lives in the shadow, that's dangerous, right? It's the person that innately has that darkness, that shadow, but chooses not to observe it, chooses to neglect it, rather, right? And this power, like the Stoics believe that true power, true influence, and true leadership came from a man that had that shadow, that darkness, right, and embraced it as an element of his active everyday self. How do you vibe with that in regards to this, and how do you embrace that with all that you've gone through?
I think that train of thought's kind of right on. That there's everyone taps into their own version of being motivated or guide themselves along a certain path based on whatever tenets that they build up for themselves. I think that darkness, that dark side, still can be tapped into. I think every human, every single person should be, in some way, shape, or form, exposed to that.
Absolutely,
just
Agreed.
that edge, just so people can get that reality check. There are entirely too many people who live in entirely too large of a bubble.
Yeah.
Who just think everything. Oh, we can just talk it out. Humans are nice. Nice things will happen. No, shut the fuck up.
Just get some therapy.
Yeah.
Just see a specialist.
Yeah, or just crystals and meditate and
Oh my
it's
God.
no. Look, here's how it's gonna happen. Is that at some point in time, I mean, just based on statistics alone, 10% of the people that are born on this planet are not good people. Maybe it's an over exaggeration. I don't think very highly of humans in the first place, but statistically speaking, a lot of us are, I mean, 10% or so are born with psychopathy, sociopathy, murderous tendencies. Most of them end up in jail. I think 87% of people who end up being, tried and true psychopaths end up in the prison system one way or another. But you got to think the ones that don't, or the ones that it sits latent, and they want to go out there and like, they go into a village, we're on a mission, and they just go shoot a bunch of people inside a house, and they lose it. Because you hear those stories. And you hear those stories, and they seem like they're so common, but they're really not.
Man.
Because we ran hundreds, if not maybe 1,000 missions, and the only one real, like, bad thing that happened was that lady being shot. Otherwise, the rest was just war.
And the true colors come out.
Yeah.
For a lot of these people, man. That's insane. I was kind of wondering too, man, continuing the story of, your first kill, man, when you look behind the ledge and you started firing and you knew this is my moment that we can finally like chip a little bit off this crew that's trying to take us out.
Yeah.
I can imagine you seeing that shadow, that darkness very, blatantly for the first time, man. Like continuing that story, like how did you feel moving forward? Like what was going through your head knowing that you just marked your first kill?
And I said earlier, the biggest one was just anger. It was just hot anger. You just see red. Because someone's trying to kill you. Yeah. I mean, how often do you, in your day-to-day, do you see someone coming at you like, if you don't stop me, I'm fucking killing you?
Oh, shit.
And so it's not often. Almost never. And so when you're over there and you see it happening, you're like, fuck, I really got to prevent this from happening, or this dickhead's going to come around and shoot me in the ass with an AK.
Yeah.
It was just hot anger. And every time you pull the trigger afterward, we're just yelling fuck and just screaming, and we're all just trying to just get it. You really just want to get it done.
God damn.
It's almost inconvenient. You're like, this fucking war. Like we would complain so much about the war during the war that you would think that like we made it. That like we started it right there.
Oh,
we were talking about this earlier, man, and this is something that kind of just like I just didn't really understand. Now I understand a lot more after like talking in depth with you about this, but like because you just said exactly like what I saw. But there was this documentary on Netflix a long time ago, that Korengal shit or whatever, and there was one scene in it that truly just like showed me like why I don't think I personally would ever have the backbone to do what you guys did, right? And it was this scene where it's basically exactly what you just said, right? Where you were shooting your guns and throwing grenades and screaming, but this guy, it showed it like it. He peeks his head over, right, and he shoots a dude in the head, right. And then all you see is just, whoa, and you can see the fucking veins coming out of his neck because he's so stoked that he just blew this dude back to the fucking Stone Age. You know what I mean? Like you know what I'm talking about? Like
definitely,
those huge things that come out of your neck.
Get real vascular.
You see that fucking just dump of just like, I don't know if it's adrenaline or relief or like excitement, what the fuck it is, but
all
like,
of it.
Yeah, like I just never really understood that. I mean, I understood it, right? Because like you got some dude trying to take your life, and like that's one less dude trying to do that,
Mm-hmm.
But like now that just gave me like such a deeper understanding of like what that guy was going through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's because we live here in the United States, and unless you're a veteran, obviously you've never had to experience anything like that, but I don't know if that's ever anything that I thought that I would think about like going into it. Like would I be like not only excited but like fucking juiced off of like this is me, dude. This is fucking, I fucking love what I just did. Yeah. That's the look that I got from that guy's eyes. He was like, I fucking love myself right now.
Yeah. It seems super counterintuitive to be excited that you just killed a person, because it goes against everything any of us in this room has been taught since birth, since the country has been around pretty much.
Right.
And every war prior to the ones we started getting into before Nam, it was like, we don't want to go to war, but we have to because y'all keep fucking up.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, kitty. Meow, meow. Yeah, sorry, I lost my train of thought. I love cats.
Noms.
But yeah,
Got a
no,
soft side too.
Yeah, kitties
Ladies, do your thing.
are fun. But yeah, no, you. It's strange and it seems counterintuitive, but like I said, you get past it, and it seems like from the outside, it would be so impossible to do that, to have that reaction until you're in it. You know, because I thought the same thing about so many different things. I never thought I would enjoy going to college. Like, I ran away from high school and college to join the Army. You know, because I was like, fuck academia, fuck sitting in a classroom. I'm over medicated. I hate everyone around me.
Yeah.
Let's join the Army.
It's just, it's wild that you hated high school, you hated everybody around you. Then you go to war, and your experiences in the battlefield are extensive, and in some ways a lot of people watching this may consider fucked up. You know what I mean? But here you sit, and you're pretty, and I mean, I know you pretty well, right? And you're pretty fucking sane, bro. Like, you seem like it's weird that, like, you used to hate people. You go through this traumatic experience for 5 years, and now you don't seem like you hate people anymore.
I like people. I generally have like I said, a pretty sour disposition on humans.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think a lot about people, but I would never wish harm on someone or want to go out of my way to hurt somebody. You know, like,
Yeah.
the one thing what changed for me during the war was, now that I've seen the edge, and now that I've taken a life, and now that all this insane shit's happened, it gave me a real appreciation for being alive. And not just for me. I really don't like myself and my actions and what I do. I don't view myself as like a vessel of like positive shit. But I want to help people.
But you give hope.
I that's a byproduct, I guess. My main thing is I don't want to be a burden for anyone else. I don't want to get in anyone else's way, you know, because what I realized when I was in the war is that, like, I want to come back and I just want to do whatever the fuck I want to do. I spent 5 years being told what to do in a country I didn't want to go to, you know?
Yeah.
But I did anyway, and I've had a fucking great time, and I asked for seconds. But, you know, coming back, I just want to do whatever most veterans just want to kind of get back and just do whatever it is they feel like doing, and help. And they want to help. You hear a lot of that from coming out from the vet community. We just want to help people, because you find guys that went and saw combat realize that your best friend or someone who doesn't deserve it is just going to be snatched from you in an instant. You know, we had 19-year-olds stepping on landmines. Just, I mean, you ever seen a dead body?
No.
It's crazy.
I mean, I've seen it in like a morgue when I was in high school or something, but nothing
seeing,
like that.
Seeing a body
Never seen anybody blown apart, dude, ever.
It's crazy seeing someone that you used to be able to talk to, and the next second you see them, they're just a gray sack on the ground. Because that's really all you are. You're just going to be a bunch of bones and skin and organs that are just...
And you've seen that.
Jesus, man.
Yeah.
That is raw.
And it's that's the craziest part, is just seeing the life leave a vessel, and you're just like, fuck. So you want to prevent that from happening.
Right.
What do you do? What do you do when that happens? Is there anything that... I mean,
you kind of... It depends on the situation. When it comes to your own boys, like when your own boys get tagged, you pretty much just take a knee, and you take a quick second to make sure that none of your other boys are going to get tagged, that you're not going to step on a mine or get shot by a rocket or hit by a sniper. You pull security is what you do.
Yeah.
When you lose a friend. And if you get time that night, you talk about it, you get with your boys, and you pass around the canteen cup full of whiskey, if you got any, or you just make a little bonfire and just relax. And you got to talk about things that make you happy. There aren't really many tears. There's not a lot of room. They usually do ceremonies afterward, and the ceremonies are just fucking tear jerkers.
So you guys, when you grieve, when you deal with this, when you have that hangover, so to, after the first kill, you were talking about puking and shitting and crying all at the same time. I mean, you got to do it quick.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of time.
Like, you got to get through it.
Yeah, you have to go through the steps of grieving and shit immediately. There's no time to be like, well, I need another minute. No, fucker, we got mission.
I gotta take time off work today. I gotta call out.
I have a headache.
I want to know if two things are real. Number one, do you take their dog tags?
We don't.
Okay, so that's not real.
It's real only if the body's been like fucking mutilated.
Okay.
And you're in the unit that practices SOPs for dog tags. So it's like standard operating procedures. So
And
like
that's a per unit thing.
yeah, so it changes. Mostly the medics will usually take them. Like you keep them,
Yeah.
you know, but like the medics will usually take them.
Okay. And then the second thing is fuck, what was I gonna ask? Oh yeah, say that like they're not mutilated, and I guess you just answered my question with the per unit thing. But like, do you make it a point to like go and make sure that their eyes are shut, like, and make sure that
Oh no, usually the first thing they do. I mean,
all this shit that's in the movies is just fugazi.
oh yeah, it's all just Hollywood shit. But whenever someone gets tagged, like you keep the body. Usually, if you have something, you'll put it over the body. And you wait for the chopper to come in, pick up the body, and all you see is you just load your boy up, and that's it. They're gone.
My God, man.
Yeah, it's that quick. I remember the first night I was on my fob.
What's a fob?
So a forward operating base. So what happens is when they fly you fly in from like New York or DC or whatever. You go to some other place. You go to Germany. You get on like a military craft from like Ramstein Air Base. You'll fly into. We went to Kyrgyzstan. It was like Borat country. It was hilarious. This country was just stuck.
Borat country.
Yeah, just like donkeys like pulling like the back end of a taxi cab, and you're like
Just a bunch of dudes in banana hammocks.
pretty much, yeah. And it was
on.
just this weird, just like Eastern Bloc country that we just annexed after like the Kosovo thing. But you'll fly in there, and that's when you go into Afghanistan. So like you'll hop a couple other bases to get to like whatever base you're like being sent to, like whatever remote ass little fob. Anyway, we get to the one I was going to, and they were flying out a body. So we pretty much just got off the birds and had enough time to like get into this formation where everyone on the base will line up to like the helicopter like landing pad. Everybody will line up at attention, and then they'll start bringing the body through. And as it comes by, you give it a quick salute, and then they just load this kid, or it's usually a kid, onto the helicopter draped in a American flag, and they haul him out.
A quick reminder that you are expendable.
That was the first thing I
You'll
saw.
be that guy if you don't
Yeah.
keep on your fucking toes.
Exactly.
You are mortal.
This could be you. You know that everything is finite. You
Goddamn.
will end.
We couldn't even fucking imagine that kind of reminder, much less that kind of reality here in this. It's almost like you get broken as soon as you touch down, then you're built back up, then you're broken, built back up, to a point where virtually every other issue that a human can imagine is completely minimizable.
Just trivial. Yeah.
Dude, like a
amazing.
reminder is like getting in an argument with your significant other over something that maybe you do that they don't like, or that they do that you don't like, or getting talked to by your boss at work. Like a reminder for you is a fucking corpse.
Yeah. Yeah, or a bullet hits somewhere. I mean, like the only options you're not getting like, oh, like my brakes are like not working, or like I didn't fill up gas today. Oh shit. It's like you'll be chilling, all of a sudden just bullet snaps right past your head, and you're like, oh yeah, keep my fucking head down. I forgot.
Shit, man.
I was getting complacent.
Real quick, when you were 17, something happened to you.
Well, the plane crash happened when I was a kid.
Is that when you were 17, or did
Yeah.
I get the age wrong?
For the chick?
No, for the plane crash.
Oh yeah, the plane crash was 17.
What happened?
So my dad and I didn't have a really good relationship growing up. Old non-vet, I was just an angsty little asshole from Seattle, Offspring, so Nirvana, everybody leave me alone. Black jeans. I had these big stupid chops. I was just an asshole kid.
We need a picture of that, man.
I might have deleted all of them, thank God. Not sure my mom has one somewhere.
Bury the past.
Yeah, burn it. Yeah, so anyway, he wanted to go on a fishing trip just to become father and son more
Right.
so than we were. So we charter one of those little shitty ass float planes. Never, if you're listening to this, all of you in this room, do not get in a fucking float plane. They're the most dangerous things on the planet. So we take off in this float plane from Tacoma, touchdown in Victoria to clear customs, and we take off again. So I normally just I used to just be able to sleep on airplanes. So I was woken up with a real heavy jolt, and the guy, I was like, what the fuck? Like, maybe we're landing, cool. And I look out the window, and we're still flying. And the pontoon hit one of the trees we were coming in over the top of like this huge mountain range. And I was like, that's not safe. So as we're coming, so as we're coming in, off to our right is just open ocean, and off to our left is like shoals of rocks and logs and shit that like the ocean would be pushing into a cove. So the pilot, in his infinite wisdom, was like, let's go left. So we go left.
Naturally.
Yeah, right. That's what everyone would do. And quickly ran out of space to land the bird. So it was just like, fuck it, and gunned the engine. Like I watched him push the throttle forward, and so we're all like back in our seats, and he just cranks the bird as hard to the left as he can. So now we're sideways, and the left wing clips the water, rips that half of the plane off, and we just cartwheel like I don't know 3 or 4 times. I hit the seat in front of me and just blacked out. And I came to, and we were floating. Thank fuck, face up.
Yeah.
Because had we been upside down, we all would have been dead for sure.
Totally.
And we were just filling up with water and just slowly sinking. And my dad was just limping the seat in front of me, and I could look around. I was the only person still in the plane. I was like, fuck. So like I was like trying to wake up my dad, and he was just, I mean, he's also half deaf, so I'm sure he's probably just taking a nap at that point.
The pilot was gone?
Yeah.
The pilot bounced?
Everyone bounced.
The fuck, and they just left you in there?
Yeah, I don't know. It was all, I'm sure they look back and were like, man, those fuckers are dead.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but so I finally get the door open, and I opened it up, and this was like when I started getting like my wits about me and shit, and like I watched the door just float away into the water. I was like, fuck, that's where I'm going. So I get out on the wing, and I'm screaming at my dad, Dad, wake up, and finally he starts to like, bring himself around, very slowly gets his seatbelt off, and I was like, hey, fucker, like we're on a time crunch here. This isn't like we didn't land. So we finally get out, and the plane then starts just really coming down hard. And this was almost like out of Hollywood shit. Like so the pontoons were pinched between the plane and the water. So as the plane was going down, the pontoons had less pressure from like the water pushing them up and against the plane. So they started coming down on top of us. So we're like shittily swimming in all of our like heavy gear, And here comes this pontoon like,
Jesus.
Yeah. So I was like, oh fuck this, like we're just gonna die.
Did you go fishing or what?
Oh yeah, caught some big fuckers, man. Some of the biggest fish I've ever seen in my life.
Oh,
that was a great trip. No, and the tour guide that took us, he just passed recently. Rest in peace. His name, and I'm shit you not, was Fat Bitch Dan was his name.
Fat Bitch
and
Dan.
He would introduce himself as Fat Bitch Dan, and he would walk up from the docks, and all the docks would be like following him, or dogs would be following him up there because the guy just smelled like low tide. And he had like just these like cigarette burnt sweatpants and a shirt like that was pretty much just burns also. Hey man, how's it going? He'd be smoking Black and Milds, like Canadian Black and Milds, and just fishing. But this guy would just pull up, and so we didn't have you ever been fishing before? So you know how there's like drag on the line? So these ones we didn't have drag. You just use your palm. So imagine catching a fucking 60-pound salmon or whatever out from the ocean, and the only way to slow it down is your palm. We had these big burns down our hands.
Good God.
Yeah, he's like, you're gonna earn your fish.
No shit.
Fucking ain't right.
Ain't putting that one back.
So
Yeah.
tight, dude.
Yeah, man, it was a great trip. Actually, we're going to try to do it again maybe next summer.
Right on.
Yeah, hopefully we don't take a plane.
Dude, we are coming up to out of time. Dude, I want to thank you so much.
No, thank you guys.
This has been
fun.
a fucking awesome
This
journey,
is so
man.
cool.
To be honest, because I feel like there's so much more that we want to hear from you, and that you might want to say, man. Would you be willing to do a second episode if we set one up with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Why not?
Fuck yeah, man. This has been a hell of a fucking episode, man.
I'm enjoying it.
Real quick before we end it, because we're pretty much done right now. But you're not alone in your experiences as far as being a veteran. In your experiences downrange, or is that the right word?
Downrange.
And anything like that. There's a veteran out there that's an hour and 2 minutes away from sticking a gun in their mouth. What do you tell them?
You're not alone. Stop. These are all temporary problems. These are things that can get fixed. These are problems that didn't exist before. They're temporary. All this is temporary. We can fix all this. You're not weak for asking for help, for talking to someone, for just getting shit off your chest. What makes you a burden, and what makes you, and I don't want to say the word weak, but what makes you a burden is when you're resisting help. When I just want to do this myself, but you're still having an issue. That means you're not doing it yourself properly. So go out there and find some help. It's not hard.
Yeah.
They're out there. Go to the VA. They suck, but someone's going to talk to you. Maybe you run into me.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Give Josh a call. Find him.
Yeah.
He'll talk to you.
All of our social medias will be in the description. Please, if you guys could just throw a like and subscribe, we would really appreciate it. It helps us so fucking much.
Absolutely. Shout out to Last Week Out.
Slack Media LLC, and we will see you guys next week. Thank you,
Josh.
Thank you, Josh. We appreciate you, man. Love you, dude.
Absolutely.